I request Honorable President Sri Ramnath Kovindji to kindly come and light the auspicious lamp. Also, I request to all the guests who are there on dais, please kindly accompany him. Thank you so much. I request everyone to kindly be seated. For the further proceedings, may I request Sri Jaideep Govind, Secretary General, NHRC, to kindly come for the welcome speech. And I request you all to kindly give him a welcoming round of applause.
Honorable President of India, Sri Ramnath Kovindji, respected Justice Sri H.L. Dattuji, Chairperson NHRC, respected members of the Commission, Justice Sri P.C. Pant, Srimati Jyotika Kalra, Dr. D.M. Mule, Mrs. Rinalda Lok Desalian, the UN Resident Coordinator in India, esteemed delegates from UN agencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, chairpersons, and members of the National Human Rights Commissions, the State Human Rights Commissions, Secretaries, Government of India, officers and representatives of the central and state government, media, human rights defenders, NGOs and civil society representatives, officers and staff of the NHRC, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the National Human Rights Commission, I extend a warm welcome to all of you on this important occasion of the Human Rights Day, the day the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948. The NHRC is grateful to the Honorable President of India, Sri Ramnath Kovindji, for having spared his valuable time to grace this occasion. We consider ourselves fortunate and blessed to have you amongst us, sir. The National Human Rights Commission of India is 26 years old and is the largest national human rights institution in the world. It is making all efforts to protect and promote human rights in our country. The Commission, since inception, has dealt with more than 18 lakh cases of complaints of violations of human rights and has recommended compensation to the tune of 180 crores in 7,000 cases. The Commission has also focused on other human rights issues like rights of elderly, women, children, transgender, elimination of bonded labor, mental health and silicosis, etc. This is undertaken through research studies, spot investigations on critical issues, workshops, seminars, core group meetings, trainings, internships, etc. The Commission has issued guidelines on important issues of custodial deaths, custodial rapes, deaths during the course of police action, and has also granted relief to many. By way of recent innovations, The Commission has tried to enhance its outreach. It has made its portal transparent and taken important steps in this regard. The new portal has been formed, and the provision for state and central authorities to upload their responses has been made to make it more interactive, and video conferences have been conducted with the states to follow up their submission of reports. It is joined to around 3 lakh common service centers across the country so that the common public can be benefited and facilitated in a big way. All orders of our commission, its members, its chairperson, are uploaded on the website to make it transparent, and a dedicated Madad counter which assists the complainants in filing complaints is working to facilitate the public at large. Open hearings, camp sittings are also conducted and organized by the Commission in different parts of the country to hear important cases. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commission has played an important role in the Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions, the GANERI, the APF Forum of the NHRIs, and has contributed in the Universal Periodical Reviews. Under the able leadership of our chairperson, Justice Dattu, the National Human Rights Commission of India has got the A status, which is the highest status of accreditation by the Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions. Our NGOs and human rights defenders, the media, have been partners with the NHRI, and our efforts have been to promote and protect human rights through our partners. In fact, we have always and will always continue to value their work. A separate page on our website for human rights defenders has been opened so that their complaints are systematically followed and due process is applied to these cases in particular. It is our assurance today that the National Human Rights Commission will ceaselessly work to achieve the goal of creating a human right-friendly environment in the country and help in strengthening the human rights compliance in India. Ladies and gentlemen, I conclude with the Sanskrit Vedic thought, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, which means, may all be prosperous, may all be happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I request Ms. Renata Lok-Deselian, US Resident Coordinator in India, to kindly come and read the message of the UN Secretary General. And I want you all to give her a huge round of applause.
Your Excellency, Honorable President of India, Mr. Ramnath Kovind, Honorable Chairperson, National Human Rights Commission, Justice Dattu, Honorable Secretary General, National Human Rights Commission, Mr. Jaideep Kovind, other dignitaries on the dais, Excellencies and members of the Diplomatic Corps, my United Nations colleagues, representatives of the government and civil society, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. As the representative of the United Nations here in India, I'm extremely pleased to join you today for the commemoration of Human Rights Day. India has made lasting contributions to the whole discourse of human rights as a universal theme and priority. Indian leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, whose 150th anniversary we've recently commemorated together, not only preached the philosophy of peaceful coexistence, brotherhood, respect for the dignity and worth of each human being, but he practiced it and millions followed. In 1947, when the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was being drafted, it was India's Hansa Mehta who suggested that the words of Article 1 be changed from "all men are born free and equal" to "all human beings are born free and equal." "72 years ago today, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted by the UN General Assembly. It was a firm commitment by UN member states to protect the rights of everyone, making it possible for a future generation to also uphold all human rights for everyone. Nothing captures the aims of the international human rights system more clearly than the succinct Article 1 of the Universal Declaration, which states boldly and unequivocally that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. I'm now pleased to read to you this year's message of the United Nations Secretary General for Human Rights Day, which this year focuses on the role of youth and human rights. And I quote, "This year on Human Rights Day, we celebrate the role of young people in bringing human rights to life. Globally, young people are marching, organizing, and speaking out for the right to a healthy environment, for the equal right for women and girls to participate in decision-making and to express their opinion freely. They are marching for their right to a future of peace, justice, and equal opportunity. Every single person is entitled to all rights: civil, political, economic, social, and cultural, regardless of where they live, regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, social origin, gender, sexual orientation, political or other opinion, disability or income, or any other status. On this International Day, I call on everyone to support and protect young people who are standing up for human rights." End of quotation. And let me just conclude by saying, let us all work harder to uphold all the human rights of everyone, everywhere. Thank you. Dhanyabad.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. I request Justice H.L. Dattu to kindly release the publications and CDs of award-winning films under the Short Film Competition 2019 on human rights, and kindly present the first copy to the President. I now request Justice Shri H.L. Dattu, Chairman, National Human Rights Commission, to kindly come for the address. And I want you all to give him a welcoming round of applause.
Good morning to all of you. Namaskar. The chief guest of this morning, His Excellency, the President of India, Sri Ramnath Kovind ji, my esteemed colleagues and members of the Commission, Justice P.C. Pant, Srimati Jyotika Kalra, Dr. D.M. Mule, my Secretary General, Sri Jaideep Govind, former chairpersons and members of the NHRC, chairpersons and secretaries of national commissions and State Human Rights Commission, UN Resident Coordinator in India, and other esteemed delegates from UN agencies, members of the media, NGO, civil society, officers of the staff of NHRC, and other distinguished invitees. I, on behalf of National Human Rights Commission, extend a very warm welcome to all of you on the significant occasion of National Human Rights Day. I am especially grateful to His Excellency, the President of India, for having kindly spared his precious time to grace this occasion. His Excellency brings with him his vast, varied, and rich experience of public life and service. An eminent legal luminary, a distinguished parliamentarian, and a long-time champion of equality in society and integrity in Indian public life. His presence, therefore, is indicative of his concern for and commitment to human rights. Human Rights Day is widely known, signifies the adoption of Universal Declaration of Human Rights by the United Nations General Assembly in 1948. The declaration is an embodiment of the aspiration of people across the world for ensuring equality, dignity, and peaceful existence. United Nations General Assembly continues to be the most important and far-reaching of all United Nations declarations and source of inspirations for national and international efforts to promote and protect human rights and fundamental freedoms. It provides a fundamental philosophy on the basis of which several legally binding international instruments have been adopted, to many of which India is a state party. They have enriched and expanded the scope of human rights and prompted a dynamic outlook. In addition, the core fundamentals guaranteed by the Constitution to the people of India, namely right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, and cultural and educational rights, and the right to constitutional remedies, together with directive principles of the state policy, form the bedrock of our constitutional democracy. Since its establishment on 12th October 1993, the Commission consistently striven to ensure the protection of civil and political rights, as well as economic, social, and cultural rights. The Commission has also made a significant contribution to mainstreaming a human rights-centered approach in the government policy and programs, as well as creating a human rights awareness and sensitization among public authorities and civil society, paving the way for responsive governance. The Commission has evolved a rigorous reporting system and guidelines to monitor civil and political rights, including its guidelines on matters such as custodial deaths, custodial rapes, and death in police action. It has also focused on the living conditions in prisons with special attention to aspects of overcrowding, medical care for prisoners, and sensitization of prison staff of the rights of the inmates. For realization of economic, social, and cultural rights, the Commission has undertaken the important initiatives on the issues of right to health, education, besides rights of women, children, and persons with disabilities, elderly among others. Simultaneously, the Commission has endeavored to promote a human rights culture in the country by taking up with the concerned authorities the introduction of human rights education in the schools and the university curriculum. The Commission's constant endeavor over the last 26 years has been to make it accessible to the people as possible. It has tried to reach out to people from all walks of life, including those living in the remotest parts of the country. And to this end, it has developed a wide range of important monitoring mechanisms to oversee the human rights situation in the country. In order to expand its outreach, the Commission has also integrated its online complaint filing system with Common Service Portal of Government of India and encouraged various state commissions to join the portal. The Commission's camp sittings, open hearings, and monitoring of socio-economic flagship programs are some of the important monitoring mechanisms which provide the Commission an opportunity not only to make a first-hand assessment of various grassroots human rights concerns, but also interact with human rights activists, defenders, NGOs, and civil society defenders to understand the challenges they face in their day-to-day work. In addition, the Commission has also been undertaking visits through its special rapporteurs and special monitors to prisons, women and child care institutions, old age homes, homes for persons with disabilities, primary schools, and primary health centers to assess the implementation of the various socio-economic programs of the Government of India and to take up action for redressing the observed shortcomings. To create human rights awareness, the Commission continues to bring out various publications such as its monthly newsletter and annual journal, both in English and Hindi. The Commission also organizes its coveted month-long summer or winter internship programs for university students from across the country. The Commission has been organizing programs for government officials, field functionaries, representatives of NGOs, universities, etc., to encourage them to make a human rights-based approach central to their work and activities. The Commission has also instituted a short film award scheme with a view to promote and acknowledge cinematic and creative efforts in the field of human rights. All these efforts of the Commission is to create awareness in the society have shown remarkable results. The Commission, which received only 496 complaints in the first year of its establishment during the year 2018-19, it registered 89,584 complaints for redressal of the grievances. This enormous increase in the number of complaints is indicative of the awareness of human rights among people and as also their growing faith in the Commission. Efficient handling of the complaints by the Law Division with the assistance of well-developed software needs a particular mention. At the international level too, the Commission, which is an A-accredited NHRI, has continued to play an active role in the promotion and protection of human rights. The Commission, which is a member of the Global Alliance of National Human Rights Institutions, in short form we call it as GNANRI, has also become a member of GNANRI Bureau, which is an important policy setting body of this organization. It is also a founder member of Asia Pacific Forum of National Human Rights Institutions. On this significant day, therefore, let us pledge to rededicate ourselves to achieve a just and equitable society through upholding the principles and ideals enshrined in our Constitution and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights for the protection and promotion of human dignity and inviolable rights of the citizens of this country. I once again extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed chief guest of this morning, His Excellency, the President of India, Shri Ramnath Kovindji, and look forward to hearing his thoughts on the occasion of this important international milestone. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And it's an honor now to invite here Honorable President of India, Shri Ramnath Kovindji, for the address. And I want you all to give him a huge round of applause.
Chairperson, National Human Rights Commission, Sri Justice H.L. Dattu. Members, NHRC, Sri Justice P.C. Pant, Srimati Jyotika Kalra, and Dr. D.M. Moole. Secretary General, NHRC, Sri Jaideep Govind. UN Resident Coordinator, Madam Renata Logdesalian. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be here among you on the occasion of the World Human Rights Day. We have gathered to commemorate a momentous day in human history. It was on 10th December in 1948 that the whole humankind formally recognized that all of us are equal. I am glad to see the way the National Human Rights Commission leads the country in celebrating the day and spreading awareness about the human rights. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights covers a wide range of social, economic, cultural, civil and political rights outlined in its preamble and 30 articles. They include the right to equality, freedom from discrimination, right to life, liberty, personal security, freedom from slavery, and freedom from torture, among others. The UN General Assembly proclaimed the document as a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was drafted around the time the Constituent Assembly in India was drafting its constitution. Late last month, we celebrated the 70th anniversary of the adoption of our constitution. That day, in my address to the Supreme Court, I especially paid tributes to the women members of the Constituent Assembly. One of them was Hansa Mehta, a staunch disciple of Gandhiji. She was a member of the Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights. Coincidentally, she was also India's delegate to the historic endeavor underway at the United Nations, the drafting of the Universal Declaration. Hansaben was part of the Human Rights Committee there, and she had an equally crucial role to play in both the defining documents. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres was right when he said last year that without Hansa Mehta of India, we would likely be speaking of Universal Declaration of Rights of Men rather than of human rights. The very first article of the UDHR states, all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. At the draft stage, this article spoke of all men being equal. As many of you know, it was at Hansaben's insistence that the final version replaced men with human beings. Her other intervention ensured gender equality in marriage under Article 16. In these efforts, Hansaben found support from the chairperson of the Commission of Human Rights, Eleanor Roosevelt. Mrs. Roosevelt, the wife of the former United States President Franklin D. Roosevelt, was later called the First Lady of the World for her contributions to the cause of human rights. I think we can do more to commemorate the visionary leadership of Hansaben Mehta in the field of human rights and gender equality. Ladies and gentlemen, we can make a beginning by asking ourselves if we, as a society, have lived up to her vision of equal rights and equal dignity of women. Unfortunately, a series of events in the recent past force us to think again. Incidents of heinous crime against women are reported from many parts of the country. This is not limited to one place or one nation. In many parts of the world, human rights of those who are vulnerable and flagrantly violated. Thus, the ideal way to commemorate the World Human Rights Day is for the whole world to introspect what more we need to do to live up to the letter and spirit of the sacred text of the Declaration. Ladies and gentlemen, along with such introspection, we should also undertake the task of reinterpreting the document and expanding the notion of human rights. All we need are empathy and imagination. I have in my mind, for example, children and forced laborers, or consider the plight of those put in jails while they await trial for a petty crime they might not have even committed. Of course, these issues deserve urgent attention to make a harmonious society compliant of the Human Rights Charter. This introspection is indeed essential, but our understanding of the situation would be incomplete if we ignore the other side of the issue, which are duties. Gandhiji saw the rights and duties as two sides of the same coin. Our failings in human rights, as in the cases of violence against women, often stem from our failings in the other. Our national discourse has rightly focused on the all-important question of human rights. It can also make more space for consideration of our fundamental duties too. Ladies and gentlemen, there are challenges ahead, but I am confident we can meet them because we have an ever-vigilant National Human Rights Commission. The Protection of Human Rights Act 1993 led to the establishment of the national and state-level bodies for safeguarding and promoting human rights. The apex institution has completed a quarter century of its journey. It has lived up to the expectations by playing the role of a quasi-judicial watchdog without fear or favor. The fact that almost all the recommendations made by the NHRC are accepted by governments and other public authorities is indicative of its credibility. It also reflects the trust that the citizens have placed in this remarkable institution. Since its inception, it has provided relief to thousands and set wrongs right. I learn that apart from responding to hundreds of complaints it receives every day, the Commission also takes suo motu cognizance of reports of human rights violations with appreciable alacrity. The NHRC responds to and redresses violations of human rights by trying to organize relief and ensuring corrective action from authorities. I am glad to learn that the Commission has initiated open hearings to decide cases of atrocities against persons belonging to the scheduled castes, following the recommendations of the K.B. Saxena report. Also, the Supreme Court of India has entrusted to the Commission the task of improvement in the condition of the institutions for the mentally ill. I am happy to note that the mentally ill now receive better care and protection thanks to the continuous monitoring by the NHRC. The effective strengthening of the human rights at the ground level is, I believe, a collective task of the whole society. In this regard, the NHRC has done well in spreading awareness and joining hands with civil society to further the cause. On the occasion of the World Human Rights Day, it is my pleasure to congratulate the chairperson of the NHRC, its members, and special rapporteurs and special monitors. I extend my best wishes also to all state-level rights commissions and their heads and members. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I request you all to kindly rise on your place for the national anthem.